Lawyers. What are the 45 most shocking celebrity lawsuits of 2025? Case 1. Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, 2025. In this case, a major Hollywood feud turned into a legal battle when actress Blake Lively reportedly filed a formal complaint against her director, Justin Baldoni. The legal documents allege that Baldoni created a hostile work environment on the set of It Ends With Us. Lively's lawyers argued that he made her feel unsafe during vulnerable scenes and allegedly made inappropriate comments. The situation escalated when Lively claimed Baldoni launched a secret smear campaign against her. She accused him of hiring a crisis PR team to reportedly ruin her reputation in the press after she voiced her concerns. Lively sought damages for emotional distress, arguing that his actions were a calculated attempt to damage her career because she took creative control of the film. The result? As of late 2025, the case is active. A judge reportedly ruled that Lively's harassment claims must proceed to court, with a tentative trial date set for March 2026. Case 2. Justin Baldoni versus New York Times, 2025. In this case, director Justin Baldoni took action against the New York Times, filing a reported $250 million defamation lawsuit. His complaint alleged that the newspaper published a one-sided narrative regarding the accusations made by Blake Lively. Baldoni's legal team argued that the publication supposedly ignored evidence that proved his innocence and instead printed a damaging story to sell papers. He claimed the article, which reported on his alleged use of a crisis PR firm, was false and hurt his standing in Hollywood. The lawsuit asserted that the newspaper acted with actual malice by publishing the story without giving him a fair chance to respond. The result, the case was dismissed. The judge ruled that the newspaper was protected by fair report privilege because it was reporting on official legal documents. The New York Times has reportedly sued Baldoni's company to recover their legal fees. Case 3. Justin Baldoni versus Ryan Reynolds, 2025. In this case, the legal fight expanded when Justin Baldoni reportedly filed a countersuit against Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds. Baldoni alleged that the famous couple was actually the one trying to destroy his career. His lawyers argued that Reynolds, who was not a producer on the movie, purportedly interfered with the production and tried to take over the creative process. The lawsuit claimed the couple used their power in the industry to allegedly bully Baldoni and threatened to pull support for the film unless he met their demands. Baldoni characterized their actions as a form of creative hijacking and argued their public comments were a coordinated attack. The result? The lawsuit was dismissed. In June 2025, a federal judge reportedly threw out the claims, ruling that the couple's actions did not constitute extortion, and they had a right to defend themselves publicly. Music industry shockers. Case 4. Chris Brown versus Warner Bros. Discovery, 2025. In this case, singer Chris Brown filed a massive $500 million lawsuit against Warner Bros. Discovery over a documentary titled Chris Brown, A History of Violence. The program featured a new accuser, known as Jane Doe, who alleged the singer assaulted her on a yacht. Brown's lawyers argued that the documentary was a hit piece that reportedly relied on lies that had already been disproven in court. Brown claimed the network knew the accuser was not credible because her messages had been exposed in a previous case, but they aired the show anyway to make money. His legal team stated that the documentary intentionally ignored his personal growth and falsely labeled him a serial abuser without new proof. The result? The case is ongoing. Brown filed the suit in January 2025, and Warner Bros. Has stated it will vigorously defend the documentary, setting the stage for a trial in 2026. Case 5, Kimberly Marasco versus Taylor Swift, 2025. In this case, a poet named Kimberly Marasco sued Taylor Swift, alleging copyright infringement. Marasco claimed that lyrics on Swift's album The Tortured Poets Department were reportedly stolen from a poetry book she had written years earlier. The plaintiff argued that specific themes of grief and certain phrases were too similar to be a coincidence. Swift's lawyers fired back, calling the lawsuit absurd and harassment. They argued that you cannot copyright common words or general emotions. The defense pointed out that Marasco had sued Swift before and lost, claiming this was just a desperate attempt to get money from a famous person. The judge had to decide if the lyrics were truly copied, or if the poet was seeing connections that weren't legally there. The result, the case was dismissed. In September 2025, the judge ruled that the plaintiff could not copyright common words like rain or fear and found no evidence of infringement. Case 6, Lauren Pisciata versus Kanye West, 2025. In this case, Lauren Pisciata, a former assistant to Kanye West, sued the rapper for alleged sexual harassment and wrongful termination. She claimed West sent her explicit text messages and allegedly created a hostile work environment. Pisciata, who was previously a model, alleged West offered her $1 million to delete her social media account, but then failed to pay her the promised severance when he fired her. Her legal team argued she was subjected to a workplace where she was reportedly forced to listen to his sexual fantasies. Later, filings also included a serious allegation that she was drugged during a studio session, and that West attempted to intimidate her after she filed the lawsuit. The result, the case is ongoing. In July 2025, the complaint was reportedly amended to include additional allegations, and the legal battle is expected to continue into 2026. Case 7, Jane Doe versus Jay-Z and Sean Diddy, Combs 2025. In this case, a woman known as Jane Doe filed a shocking lawsuit claiming that two music moguls, Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs, assaulted her in the year 2000. The plaintiff alleged the incident happened at an after-party for the MTV Video Music Awards when she was just 13 years old. She claimed she was lured into a private room under false pretenses. Jay-Z vehemently denied the allegations, calling them heinous and a money grab orchestrated by a lawyer looking for a payout. His legal team pointed out reported inconsistencies in the accuser's story and argued that she had been discredited in previous attempts to sue. The case drew massive media attention because of the high profile of the defendants. The result, the lawsuit was dismissed. In February 2025, the accuser voluntarily dropped the case with prejudice, meaning she can never file it again. Jay-Z's team stated they refused to pay a single penny to settle. Case 8, United States versus Lil Durk, 2025. In this case, rapper Lil Durk faced serious federal charges for an alleged murder-for-hire conspiracy. Prosecutors claimed that Durk, whose real name is Dirk Banks, allegedly put a monetary bounty on a rival rapper named Quando Rondo. The government argued this was reportedly revenge for the death of Dirk's close friend. According to the indictment, associates of the rapper carried out a shooting in Los Angeles that resulted in the death of the intended target's cousin. The defense argued that the rapper was being unfairly targeted because of his image and lyrics, maintaining there was no direct proof he ordered the hit. However, prosecutors presented digital evidence and flight records allegedly linking his credit cards to the shooters. The result? The trial has been delayed. In September 2025, the judge pushed the trial to 2026 due to the massive amount of evidence the defense needed to review. Case 9, Busta Rhymes versus Dashiell Gables, 2025. In this case, rapper Busta Rhymes was sued by his former assistant, Dashiell Gables, who alleged assault. Gables claimed Rhymes punched him in the face during a dispute over phone usage, and allegedly created a toxic workplace where verbal abuse was common. Busta Rhymes countersued, denying the claims and arguing that Gables was a disgruntled employee who reportedly fabricated the story to extort money. The rapper's legal team claimed Gables was fired for poor performance, and that the false accusations had allegedly damaged the rapper's reputation in business deals. Both sides demanded damages for the harm caused by the dispute. The result, the case is active. As of late 2025, Busta filed his countersuit for defamation, and both parties are preparing for a court showdown. Case 10, Laura Penley versus Nick Carter, 2025. In this case, Backstreet Boys singer Nick Carter faced a lawsuit from a woman named Laura Penley. She claimed that in 2004, when she was 19, Carter sexually assaulted her on multiple occasions. The lawsuit included a specific and serious medical allegation. Penley claimed that during the assault, Carter knowingly infected her with a virus that later caused health complications. Carter's lawyers called the accusations malicious and part of a coordinated campaign to ruin his reputation, noting this was the fourth such lawsuit against him. They argued the relationship was consensual and that the medical claims were impossible to prove 2 decades later. Penley's team argued that Carter allegedly used his fame to manipulate fans and avoid accountability. The result? The case is ongoing. As of April 2025, the lawsuit is proceeding through the courts, with Carter's team vowing to fight the allegations. Case 11, FKA Twigs versus Shia LaBeouf, 2025. In this case, singer FKA Twigs sued actor Shia LaBeouf, alleging relentless abuse during their relationship. She claimed LaBeouf physically assaulted her and knowingly gave her a sexually transmitted disease. The lawsuit further alleged that he reportedly threatened to crash a car they were driving in if she didn't say she loved him. LaBeouf initially denied the specific claims, but reportedly admitted to being abusive to himself and others due to alcoholism. The case was set for a major trial that would have exposed dark details of their private life. FKA Twigs stated she filed the lawsuit to show that domestic violence can happen to anyone. The result, the case was settled. In July 2025, just before the trial was set to begin, both parties reportedly agreed to a private settlement, and the lawsuit was dismissed. Case 12, Don Richard versus Sean Diddy, Combs 2025. In this case, singer Don Richard, a former member of Danity Kane, sued her former boss Sean Diddy Combs. She alleged that for years, Diddy manipulated her with the promise of a career while subjecting her to inhumane working conditions. The most shocking part of her testimony was the claim that she witnessed Diddy allegedly beating his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Richard told the court that after she saw the alleged abuse, Diddy threatened her life, reportedly saying she could go missing if she ever spoke about it. Her lawsuit demanded justice for the alleged psychological trauma, and the earnings she claimed were withheld from her. The result, the case is ongoing. Don Richard's civil lawsuit remains active as of late 2025, independent of the criminal proceedings against Combs. Case 13, 120 Accusers versus Sean Diddy, Combs 2025. In this case, a massive wave of lawsuits was filed against Sean Diddy Combs. Attorney Tony Busby announced he was representing 120 different people who all alleged they were victims of the music mogul. The group reportedly included 25 individuals who were minors at the time of the alleged assaults. The lawsuits described a reported pattern of predatory behavior spanning 2 decades, involving alleged freak-off parties. Diddy's legal team denied the allegations, calling the lawsuits a media stunt and a money grab, and pointing out that some accusations were anonymous. The sheer volume of the filings made it a historic legal event. The result, the cases are active. As of late 2025, the lawsuits are proceeding through the courts, though there have been some changes in legal representation for the plaintiffs. Case 14, Rodney Jones versus Sean Diddy, Combs 2025. In this case, music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones sued Diddy for $30 million. Jones alleged that while working on Diddy's album, he was sexually harassed, drugged, and threatened. He also attempted to use the RICO Act, arguing that Diddy's entire business empire was allegedly operating as a criminal enterprise to traffic humans. Diddy's lawyers fought back, calling the story pure fiction and an attempt to get a quick settlement. The judge had to decide if the alleged behavior met the strict legal definition of organized crime under federal law. The result? The case was partially dismissed. In March 2025, a judge reportedly threw out the RICO charges and breach of contract claims but allowed the sexual assault allegations to proceed to trial. Case 15. Derek Dixon versus Tyler Perry, 2025. In this case, actor Derek Dixon sued director Tyler Perry for a staggering $260 million. Dixon, who appeared on Perry's show The Oval, alleged that Perry used his power to sexually harass and assault him. The lawsuit claimed a quid pro quo arrangement existed, where Dixon was promised career advancement in exchange for submission. Perry's team denied everything, calling Dixon a scammer who was trying to shake down a billionaire. They argued the lawsuit was actually about a failed business deal regarding a script. Perry reportedly countersued, claiming Dixon was the one harassing him. The result? The case is active. As of late 2025, both sides are locked in a legal battle, with Perry asking the court to dismiss the case based on jurisdictional issues. Case 16, Miss Universe Organization versus Layla Rose 2025. In this case, the Miss Universe Organization faced a legal crisis involving Layla Rose, the former president of Miss USA. Rose was accused by a former winner of allegedly creating a toxic and abusive environment. When the organization announced Rose had been replaced, she reportedly refused to accept the decision, posting messages claiming she was still in charge. Rose subsequently sued the new leadership, alleging they sabotaged her and tarnished her reputation to steal the company from her. The situation became a messy battle of countersuits over who actually owned the rights to the pageant. The result? The case is active. As of October 2025, Rose has filed a countersuit against the new owners, fighting to prove the allegations against her were false. Case 17, Staff versus Ellen DeGeneres, 2025. In this case, former staff members of Ellen DeGeneres reportedly threatened new legal action as the comedian attempted a comeback. Years after her show ended in scandal, DeGeneres faced fresh allegations that her reformed image was not genuine. Former employees claimed that despite public apologies, the bullying and intimidation allegedly continued behind the scenes. The potential lawsuit reportedly focused on intentional infliction of emotional distress, with staff arguing they were blacklisted for speaking out. They claimed DeGeneres used her power to silence victims, while publicly blaming the backlash on misogyny. The result? The situation is developing. While no formal trial has started as of late 2025, reports suggest potential litigation is looming over the comedian's return. Case 18, Fiona Harvey versus Netflix, 2025. In this case, a woman named Fiona Harvey sued Netflix for defamation over the hit show Baby Reindeer. Harvey claimed she was the real-life inspiration for the stalker character Martha, and that the show defamed her by labeling the series a true story. Harvey's lawyers argued the show falsely depicted her as a convicted criminal who went to prison, something she allegedly never did. Netflix argued the show was a fictionalized drama entitled to creative license. The judge reportedly ruled that because the show presented the prison storyline as fact, it could be considered defamation. The result? The case is active. In September 2025, a judge rejected Netflix's motion to dismiss, ruling that Harvey could proceed with her lawsuit. Case 19, Alec Baldwin versus New Mexico, 2025. In this case, the long legal saga regarding the Rust shooting came to a conclusion. Alec Baldwin had been charged with involuntary manslaughter after a prop gun fired a live bullet, killing a cinematographer. The trial was dismissed after it was revealed that prosecutors allegedly withheld evidence from the defense team. Prosecutors initially filed an appeal to reinstate the charges, arguing the error was minor. However, Baldwin's lawyers argued that hiding evidence was a violation of his constitutional rights and proved the state was trying to unfairly convict him. The result, the case is permanently closed. In December 2024, prosecutors dropped the appeal, meaning the criminal case against Baldwin is officially over. Case 20, Gina Carano versus Disney, 2025. In this case, actress Gina Carano sued Disney and Lucasfilm for alleged wrongful termination. Carano claimed she was fired from The Mandalorian because of her political posts on social media, while alleging that her male co-stars were allowed to post their own political opinions without consequence. The lawsuit was financially backed by Elon Musk. Disney argued they had the right to fire anyone who didn't align with their company values, characterizing her posts as abhorrent. Carano demanded to be recast and paid damages. The case was seen as a test of free speech rights in private employment. The result? The case was settled. In August 2025, Disney and Carano reached a settlement, and Disney released a statement saying they would be open to working with her again. Civil disputes and family law. Case 21, Jonathan Majors versus Grace Jabari, 2025. In this case, actor Jonathan Majors and his ex-girlfriend Grace Jabari faced off in civil court following his criminal conviction. Jabari sued him for defamation and battery, claiming he continued to lie about her in interviews, which allegedly unleashed online harassment against her. Majors maintained his innocence and argued that he was defending his reputation. The civil suit threatened to relitigate the details of their volatile relationship. Majors' career had already been significantly impacted, and this new lawsuit sought further damages for the alleged abuse. The result? The case was settled. In November 2024, both parties reportedly agreed to drop their lawsuits with prejudice, officially ending the legal battle. Case 22, Julia Ormond versus Disney and CAA, 2025. In this case, actress Julia Ormond sued Harvey Weinstein and the companies Disney, Miramax, and CAA. She alleged that in 1995, these companies knew Weinstein was a predator, but still reportedly forced her into meetings with him to protect their business interests. The lawsuit targeted the enablers in Hollywood, accusing them of negligence. CAA fought to get the case dismissed, arguing they had no legal duty to protect her, and claiming Ormond was already aware of Weinstein's reputation. The judge had to determine if a talent agency can be held liable for a client's safety. The result? The case against the studios was settled, but the case against CAA is active. A judge reportedly ruled that the lawsuit against the talent agency must face a trial. Case 23, Leah Remini versus Church of Scientology, 2025. In this case, actress Leah Remini sued the Church of Scientology for alleged harassment and defamation. Remini claimed the organization spent a decade trying to destroy her life after she left the church. She alleged they hired private investigators to surveil her and spread lies about her online. The church argued that their statements were protected by free speech laws and denied the harassment allegations, calling Remini the aggressor. The court had to weigh the church's rights against Remini's claims of organized intimidation. The result? The case is active. A judge reportedly allowed the harassment and surveillance claims to proceed to trial, while dismissing some of the defamation charges. Case 24, Brad Pitt versus Angelina Jolie, 2025. In this case, Brad Pitt sued his ex-wife, Angelina Jolie, over the sale of her stake in their winery Miraval. Pitt alleged they had a verbal agreement never to sell their shares without the other's permission. Jolie countersued, claiming she sold her share because Pitt allegedly tried to force her to sign an NDA regarding his alleged abuse on a private jet. New court filings reportedly showed Pitt seeking damages, accusing Jolie of trying to harm the business. Jolie's team argued that Pitt was using the lawsuit to punish her for the divorce. The result, the case is ongoing. The specific legal battle over the winery remains active in court as of late 2025. Case 25, Ashley St. Clair versus Elon Musk, 2025. In this case, conservative influencer Ashley St. Clair filed a lawsuit against Elon Musk. St. Clair filed a petition for sole custody of her 5-month-old son, alleging Musk is the father. The lawsuit reportedly included private text messages where Musk allegedly discussed security concerns for the child. St. Clair argued that Musk had minimal contact with the baby and sought a court order to establish paternity and support. Musk's team has remained largely silent on the matter, but the filing brought a private family matter into the public eye. The result, the case is active. The custody battle is currently making its way through the New York court system. Tech, AI, and influencers. Case 26, Major Studios versus Minimax, 2025. In this case, Major Movie Studios sued a Chinese AI company called Minimax. Disney, Warner Bros., and Universal accused the company of pirating their intellectual property to train its AI video generator. The studios claimed the app allowed users to create bootleg videos of copyrighted characters like Darth Vader. The lawsuit alleged that the AI model was built on stolen data and that the company refused to implement safeguards. This was the first major U.S. lawsuit against a Chinese AI firm regarding copyright infringement. The result? The case is active. Filed in September 2025, the studios are reportedly demanding an injunction and significant damages. Case 27, The New York Times versus OpenAI, 2025. In this case, the New York Times sued OpenAI, alleging copyright infringement. The newspaper claimed OpenAI illegally used millions of its articles to train chatbots, which can now reportedly reproduce Times content verbatim. They argued this created a direct competitor using their own work. OpenAI argued that using data for training is fair use. The case became more complex when the Times alleged OpenAI deleted evidence, specifically chat logs, to hide the extent of the infringement. A judge reportedly had to order the preservation of data. The result? The case is ongoing. A judge reportedly rejected OpenAI's attempt to dismiss the case, allowing it to proceed to trial. Case 28, Sarah Silverman versus Meta, 2025. In this case, Sarah Silverman and other authors sued Meta, alleging their books were used to train AI models without permission. Silverman claimed the AI could summarize her memoir in detail, suggesting it had read the book. Meta's lawyers argued that the AI learns patterns and does not copy books in a way that violates copyright law. The judge reportedly found that the authors failed to prove the AI's output was substantially similar to their works, a key requirement for copyright infringement. The result, the case was dismissed. In June 2025, a judge reportedly ruled in favor of Meta, handing a victory to the tech giant. Case 29, Contestants versus Mr. Beast, 2025. In this case, contestants on the reality show Beast Games filed a class action lawsuit against Mr. Beast and Amazon. The plaintiffs alleged they were treated poorly, denied adequate food and medical care, and subjected to a toxic environment. They also claimed they were misclassified as volunteers to avoid minimum wage laws. Mr. Beast's team reportedly denied the allegations, stating the claims were blown out of proportion. The lawsuit forced a legal examination of the working conditions on massive YouTube productions. The result? The case is active. Filed in September 2024, the lawsuit is proceeding in Los Angeles courts as of late 2025. Case 30, Ray J versus TMZ, 2025. In this case, singer Ray J filed a lawsuit in the UK against the tabloid TMZ, alleging racketeering. He claimed the outlet used illegal methods like bribery and extortion to control celebrity narratives. Ray J alleged he was used to damage the reputations of others, and that the outlet paid sources to exaggerate stories. The lawsuit accused the media organization of operating like a criminal enterprise to get exclusives. Ray J's team argued the outlet's business model relied on unlawful acts. The result, the case is developing. As of late 2025, the lawsuit is in its early stages in the UK High Court. Case 31, TikTok versus United States, 2025. In this case, TikTok sued the US government to stop a nationwide ban. The government passed a law demanding TikTok's Chinese parent company sell the app or face a shutdown, citing national security concerns. TikTok argued this was a violation of the First Amendment rights of American users. The company's lawyers claimed the ban was unconstitutional and that there was no proof user data was compromised. The case went to the Supreme Court, pitting national security against free speech. The result, the case was lost. In January 2025, the Supreme Court reportedly upheld the ban, ruling that national security concerns outweighed the free speech arguments. Case 32, Tempo Music versus Miley Cyrus, 2025. In this case, Miley Cyrus was sued for copyright infringement over her song Flowers. Tempo Music, which owns a share of Bruno Mars' song When I Was Your Man, alleged that Cyrus copied the melody and lyrics. The lawsuit pointed out similarities between the choruses of the two songs. Cyrus's legal team argued that Tempo Music didn't have the right to sue without Bruno Mars, and that the song simply shared common themes. The judge ruled that owning a fraction of the copyright was enough to file a lawsuit. The result, the case is active. In March 2025, a judge reportedly rejected Cyrus's motion to dismiss, meaning the case will proceed toward a trial. Case 33, Logan Paul versus CoffeeZilla, 2025. In this case, YouTuber Logan Paul sued internet investigator CoffeeZilla for defamation. CoffeeZilla had published videos alleging Paul's CryptoZoo project was a scam that cost fans millions. Paul claimed the videos were malicious lies and that he never intended to defraud anyone. CoffeeZilla argued his reporting was factual and protected by free speech, pointing out that Paul had apologized for issues with the project. The judge had to decide if calling someone a scammer based on a failed business is defamation. The result, the case is active. In April 2025, a judge reportedly denied the request to dismiss the lawsuit, ruling the defamation claims could be heard in court. Case 34, United States versus Jasveen Sangha, 2025. In this case, a woman known as the Ketamine Queen faced charges related to the death of Matthew Perry. Prosecutors alleged that Jasveen Sangha sold the fatal dose of ketamine to the actor and operated a drug distribution network. They claimed she knew the drugs were dangerous, but continued to sell them for profit. Sangha's defense initially argued she was not responsible for the user's actions. However, evidence reportedly showed attempts to delete messages and conceal her involvement after the death. The result, the case ended in a guilty plea. In August 2025, Sangha reportedly pleaded guilty to distribution of ketamine resulting in death to avoid a trial. Case 35, Eric and Lyle Menendez versus California, 2025. In this case, the Menendez brothers returned to court seeking resentencing. New evidence reportedly emerged, suggesting their father had abused them, corroborating their original defense from the 90s. The brothers argued they should be released because modern laws treat abuse victims differently. The district attorney reportedly supported their release, admitting the original trial had issues. However, the parole board opposed it, arguing they had not taken full responsibility for the murders. The hearing drew global attention. The result, the brothers were resentenced but denied parole. In May 2025, A judge reportedly reduced their sentence, making them eligible for parole, but the board subsequently denied their release. Case 36, Sarah Palin versus New York Times, 2025. In this case, Sarah Palin sued the New York Times for defamation regarding an editorial that incorrectly linked her rhetoric to a mass shooting. Palin argued the newspaper knew the claim was false, but printed it anyway. The Times admitted the mistake, but argued it was an honest error, not actual malice, which is the legal standard public figures must prove. A previous trial had been thrown out due to procedural errors, granting Palin a retrial. The result? The case was lost again. In April 2025, a jury reportedly found the newspaper not liable, ruling that Palin failed to prove the paper acted with malicious intent. Case 37, Smartmatic versus Fox News, 2025. In this case, Smartmatic sued Fox News for defamation, claiming the network broadcast lies that its machines were used to rig the 2020 election. Smartmatic argued these reports destroyed its business and endangered employees. Fox News tried to delay the trial, pointing to unrelated bribery charges against Smartmatic executives. They argued the company's reputation was already damaged. However, the judge reportedly rejected this, stating the bribery charges didn't justify the alleged lies about the election. The result? The case is active. In November 2025, a judge reportedly denied Fox's request to pause the lawsuit, clearing the way for a trial. Case 38, Concertgoers versus Madonna, 2025. In this case, fans sued Madonna for false advertising, alleging her concert started hours late. The class action lawsuit claimed fans were stranded late at night and suffered financial loss. Madonna's lawyers argued that no reasonable fan expects a headliner to start exactly at the ticketed time. They called the lawsuit frivolous and stated that late starts are part of the concert experience. The legal battle raised questions about ticket times as contracts. The result? The case was dropped. In June 2025, the plaintiffs reportedly voluntarily dismissed the lawsuit without a settlement. Case 39, Snoop Dogg versus Walmart, and Post 2025. In this case, Snoop Dogg and Master P sued Walmart and Post, alleging the companies sabotaged their cereal brand. They claimed that after they refused to sell their company to Post, the manufacturer pretended to partner with them, but secretly worked with Walmart to hide the cereal in stockrooms. The lawsuit alleged a plan to choke a minority-owned business out of the market. Post and Walmart denied the conspiracy, blaming poor sales on a lack of consumer demand. The result? The case is active. As of late 2025, the legal battle continues, with the rapper seeking damages for the alleged sabotage. Case 40, Riley Keough versus Nowcini Investments, 2025. In this case, Riley Keough sued to stop a foreclosure sale of Graceland. A company claimed her late mother used the home as collateral for a loan and threatened to auction it off. Keough alleged the loan documents were forgeries and that the company was fraudulent. The investigation revealed the company didn't legally exist and was part of an identity theft scheme. The FBI reportedly got involved to stop the sale of the historic home. The result? The fraudster pleaded guilty. In February 2025, a woman admitted to creating the fake company and forging documents, and Graceland remained with the Presley family. Case 41, Tiger Woods versus Erica Herman, 2025. In this case, Tiger Woods faced a lawsuit from his ex-girlfriend Erica Herman, who claimed she was owed $30 million. Herman alleged she was tricked into leaving their shared home and sued for unlawful eviction. She also tried to void an NDA, citing a law regarding sexual harassment. Woods' lawyers called her claims vague and argued she was a jilted ex-lover. The judge had to determine if the NDA was valid. The result? The case was dismissed. Herman reportedly dropped the lawsuit and admitted in court filings that she was never a victim of sexual abuse, ending the legal battle. Case 42 Dancers versus Lizzo, 2025. In this case, Lizzo was sued by former backup dancers who alleged sexual harassment and a hostile work environment. The dancers claimed they were pressured into uncomfortable situations and shamed for weight gain. They argued the singer's public brand of empowerment contradicted her alleged private behavior. Lizzo denied the allegations, calling them sensationalized stories from disgruntled employees. She tried to use free speech laws to dismiss the case. The result, the case is active. A judge reportedly denied Lizzo's request to dismiss the lawsuit, allowing the harassment claims to proceed to a jury trial. Case 43. Sophie Turner versus Joe Jonas, 2025. In this case, Sophie Turner sued Joe Jonas under the Hague Convention, alleging he wrongfully retained their children's passports. Turner claimed they had agreed to move to the UK before he filed for divorce. She alleged he was preventing the children from returning to their habitual residence. Jonas's team denied the abduction claim, calling it a misuse of the legal system, and arguing the children had lived in the US. The case highlighted the complexities of international custody. The result, the case was settled. In September 2024, the couple reached a custody agreement, allowing travel between the countries and ending the lawsuit. Case 44, Federal Trade Commission versus Ticketmaster, 2025. In this case, the U.S. government sued to break up Ticketmaster and Live Nation. The FTC alleged the companies operate an illegal monopoly that inflates ticket prices and hurts artists. They cited alleged exclusionary tactics that forced venues to use only Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster argued its success was due to its business model, not illegal acts. Internal emails reportedly showed executives discussing competition in ways that prosecutors argued proved anti-competitive intent. The result, the case is active. In March 2025, a judge reportedly rejected the motion to dismiss, setting the stage for a massive antitrust trial. Case 45, Prince Harry versus News Group Newspapers, 2025. In this case, Prince Harry sued the publisher of The Sun, alleging unlawful information gathering. He claimed the newspaper used illegal methods to spy on him for years, including tapping phones and stealing medical records. Harry argued the tabloids had intruded on his life since childhood. The publisher denied the most serious allegations, but sought to resolve the matter to avoid a public trial. The result, the case was settled. In January 2025, the publisher reportedly issued an apology and paid damages to resolve the claim without a trial.